The direct deposit arrives at 6:03 a.m. You do not see it land. You find it at 8:40 a.m. when you check the app on the way to work. $3,442 sits there. By Friday, $2,100 remains. By next Thursday, $400. By the morning before payday, the balance reads $87. You do not panic. You have been here before. You will be here again. The cycle is the texture of your adult life. You are 27, you work, you earn, you spend, you start over. You have never asked where the money went. The app shows categories, but you have never opened them. Rent, car payment, insurance, groceries, phone, streaming, gym, takeout, a card fee, a subscription you forgot about, a charge you do not recognize. At this stage, money is weather. It comes, it leaves, you stand in it. You have no plan, no system, no number in your head. If someone asked what your savings rate is, you would not know the word. Your retirement account holds $1,400. The match your company's forced on you, you have never checked it. Your credit card revolves. You pay the minimum. The balance grows. You promise to pay it off next month. Next month arrives. The balance has grown again. The first rule of growth lies outside your awareness. Money left unmanaged is money quietly managed by someone else. The bank, the card company, the subscription service, the restaurant, the retailer. They each take a piece. You never feel the individual cuts. Nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is broken. The system is invisible. And invisible systems run on autopilot. Here, the day begins without a question. You wake, you work, you spend, you sleep. No audit, no review, no plan. And nothing grows, not the balance, not the future, not you. Tuesday night, nothing dramatic has happened. You sit on the couch with a laptop open. You clicked into the bank app out of habit. A chart shows 12 months of deposits and 12 months of withdrawals. The two bars are almost the same height. You stare at them. You do the math. 60,000 in, 59,000 out. A year of work, $1,000 to show for it. And half of the 1,000 sits in a checking account you use as an emergency fund by accident. Something lands quietly inside your chest. Not panic, not shame. A thin, cold clarity. You open the subscriptions tab. 9 services, 4 you forgot about, 3 you never use, 2 you use often. The total comes to $156 a month, $1,800 a year for things you barely notice. You open the credit card statement. The minimum payments have kept the balance at roughly $4,300 for 16 months. Interest has cost you $780 in the window. You close the laptop. You sit in the quiet. The shift has begun. At this stage, nothing has moved financially. Everything has moved internally. The math is now visible. You do not need more income. You need a system. Here, the day begins differently. You cancel 3 subscriptions the next morning. You move $200 from checking into a savings account you name emergency. You pick a number and write it on a sticky note, $1,000 a starting line. You are not rich. You are not saved. You have not grown. But you have started. The second rule of growth is awareness. A leak you do not see is a leak you do not stop. A leak you see stops on its own. Nothing about your bank balance has changed this week. Everything about your future has. The first 90 days hurt. You say no to a concert. You say no to a group dinner. You cook a pot of rice on Sunday and eat from it through Wednesday. The $1,000 sticky note sits on the fridge. You hit $400 by week 4. You hit $800 by week 9. A bill hits in week 11, and the balance drops to $300. 45 You feel the pull to quit, to spend the $300 on something fun, to admit the plan was too hard. You almost do. You do not. You write a second sticky note and put it next to the first. Slow is fine. You breathe. By the end of month 4, the balance hits $1,000. You do not celebrate. You stare at the number and feel something close to suspicion. A part of you expects it to leave overnight. It does not leave, it sits. At this stage, discipline does not feel like growth. It feels like subtraction. You are saying no more often. You are saying yes less often. The feeling is not freedom. The feeling is constrained. Here, the day begins differently. You check the balance once a week instead of never. You open the credit card app on a schedule. You pay more than the minimum for the first time in 3 years. The balance drops by $230 in one payment. You feel a small crack of pride. The third rule of growth costs before it pays. The first phase is always friction. You start to read. You start to listen. You start to ask questions that the person from 6 months ago would not have asked. At night, you write down 3 numbers. Income, expenses, savings. The gap is small. The gap exists. For the first time, you own the gap. 14 months in, a Sunday. You sit with a coffee and open a brokerage account on your laptop. You funded it 6 months ago with $500, set a recurring transfer of $150 per paycheck, and stopped watching it. The balance reads $3,840. You do the math. You contributed $3,350 across those months. The account grew by $490. Not because you worked more. Not because you saved more. Because $3,350 sat in index funds and the funds went up. You sit with the number for a long moment. $490 did not come from your hours. It did not come from your effort. It came from a system you set up once and forgot about. Something opens inside your head. At this stage, the shift is mechanical. The idea of money making money stops being a phrase in a book. It becomes a number on a screen, tied to your account, with your name on it. Here, the day begins differently. You increase the recurring transfer to $200. You open a Roth IRA. You consolidate 3 old retirement accounts. You read for 2 hours a night because the math is suddenly interesting. The fourth rule of growth: compounding is invisible until it is not. The first year looks like nothing, the 5th year looks like something, the 10th year looks like a different life. You stop thinking of money as a weekly event. You start thinking of it as a 7-year event, a 10-year event, a 20-year event. The timeline gets longer. The urgency gets smaller. The plan gets clearer. You are no longer saving, you are investing. The difference is not semantic. The difference is everything. Years 3. The habits run on their own. Transfers leave your checking account on the 1st and 15th. Bills pay themselves. The emergency fund holds $8,000. The brokerage holds $19,000. The Roth holds $7,000. The credit card has carried a zero balance for the 11th month in a row. You do not track this anymore in detail. A dashboard tracks it for you. You glance on Sunday mornings. At this stage, the effort has left. The system has taken over. This is the quiet phase. The one no one films. No breakthrough moment. No dramatic scene. The arrow points up. The slope is gentle. The days look boring. And boring is the signal. Here, the day begins differently. You stop making money decisions every week. You make them every quarter. You stop reading every money article. You read one book every 2 months. You stop watching the market. You watch your own behavior. The 5th rule of growth: momentum is the state where your habits become stronger than your moods. A hard week no longer breaks the plan. The plan absorbs the week. At work, you ask for a raise with different energy. Not from fear, from math. You know what your runway looks like. You know what a no feels like. You know what a yes means. You get the raise. The extra money slides into the system automatically. Your lifestyle does not change. The balance grows faster. At night, you notice something strange. You think about money less often than you did at any prior stage. Not because it matters less, because the system carries it for you. You have moved past the point where willpower runs the show. Year 6, a Tuesday afternoon. You open the dashboard on a slow hour and notice something. The investment account grew by $14,000 last quarter. Your contributions were $3,600 in the same window. $10,400 came from the market, not from you. You stare at the number. 6 years ago, the same gain would have come from hard work. Today, it comes from patience. The shit. At this stage, the curve bends. You are no longer pushing money uphill. The money pulls itself forward while you walk behind it. Here, the day begins differently. You stop asking how to earn more. You start asking how to keep more. A tax strategist enters your life. A financial planner enters your life. A side business you started 3 years ago pays $1,500 a month without any effort you added this quarter. The 6th rule of growth: acceleration is the moment wealth shifts from labor to leverage. Your labor is finite. Your leverage is not. The numbers feel unreal in good months. The numbers feel flat on bad months. You learn to ignore both. You focus on the slope across years, not the point on any given day. At night, you look back at the 27-year-old with the checking balance of $87. You remember the chart, the two bars at equal heights, the thin cold clarity on a Tuesday night. You are the same person. The system around you is a different world. Your net worth crosses 200,000, then 300, then crosses 400 before you noticed it was close. The curve has left the ground. Years 10. Something has broken in a good way. Your portfolio crosses 1 million. You do not tell anyone. You sit with the number for an evening and then go to bed. At this stage, the problems change. You do not worry about rent, you worry about allocation. You do not ask what to save, you ask what to deploy. A single decision about where to put capital outweighs a year of careful budgeting. Here, the day begins differently. You meet with an advisor once a quarter. You review entities, not accounts. You start to think in structures, not paychecks, a tax plan, a trust, a set of holdings, a business. The seventh rule of growth, scale changes the questions. The earlier stages ask how to spend less. The later stages ask how to own more. You notice something about the people around you. Some old friends look at you differently. Some new friends look at you the same. The filter is quiet, and it happens on its own. You do not cut anyone off. You find yourself spending time with people who talk about building, not complaining. Your side business, once a small experiment, pulls in enough to cover your living expenses without your paycheck. You do not leave your job, not yet. The optionality is the gift. At night, you think about the early years, the rice bowls, the sticky note on the fridge, the first $1,000. You feel a strange gratitude, not for what you have, for what you built while you had less. The early years were not a prelude, they were the foundation. The scale phase rests on them. Years 15, a quiet morning. You sit on a porch, a cup of coffee in your hand. No alarm went off, no meeting starts at 9 a.m. The balance is a number you know by heart, but do not check often. At this stage, money has stopped being a goal, it has become a tool. The tool buys time, the tool buys calm. The tool gives the ability to choose what to do with a day. You have not retired, retirement is optional now. You have stopped working from fear. Here, the day begins differently. You read in the morning, you work on projects you love. You say no to opportunities that do not fit, you accept opportunities that do. The calendar is yours. The eighth rule of growth. Freedom is not the presence of money, it is the absence of financial fear. You think about the younger version of you, the one who watched the chart on a Tuesday night, the one who did not know a word like compounding, the one who thought money was weather. You see the arc from here, the unconscious phase, the awakening, the struggle, the first compound. The momentum, the acceleration, the scale, the freedom. Each phase had its cost. Each phase had its gift. Each phase prepared you for the one after it. You did not skip any stage, nobody does. The growth happened in layers. The person on the porch is the one the chart started building 15 years ago. You pick up the cup, you take a slow sip, the coffee is warm. The sun is coming up, you are not counting anything. For the first time, you do not need to. Somewhere, on a Tuesday night, a laptop is open on a couch. A chart shows 12 months of deposits and 12 months of withdrawals. The two bars are almost the same height. An $87 balance sits in a checking account. A $4,300 credit card balance has not moved in 16 months. Someone stares at the screen. Nothing happens externally. Nothing needs to. Something thin and cold lands in their chest. A question begins to form. They do not know yet. The first rule of growth is awareness. The second is friction. The third is compounding. The fourth is momentum. The fifth is leverage. The sixth is structure. The seventh is freedom. They do not know the arc they are about to walk. They only know the chart. They close the laptop. They sit in the quiet. The stage has ended. The next one has begun.